Hi there, good day, and welcome to Marble Halls TV. And this is going to be a review for Arsenal versus Crystal Palace, which ended 0-0. Um, my overall thoughts on the game are that I think basically we didn't play to our full potential. We must have had the majority of the possession, but I think a draw is probably fair. Crystal Palace had some very good chances. We had some few chances too, and I think more so in the second half we stepped out. But overall, it wasn't the best performance, and it was a bit laboured. And I don't know. For most of the game, we didn't have this same and proper zip that we should have. Um, Having said that, there were some positives to the game, so it's unfair to say that it was all bad, but it could have been better. Let's just put it that way. So yeah. Um, as for the lineup, as you can see on the screen here, I was a bit surprised at Tierney, but from what we can see, or Tierney was injured. I'm not sure when he's coming back. Um, Midfield, I suppose his Partey was on the bench. Again, that's understandable. Um, Pepe, yes, it's good Willian didn't start. Gabriel, maybe he was carrying a bit of a knock. Cedric, Chambers, Nketiah. Um, I suppose with the transfer thing, with Balogun, maybe that's why he hasn't featured a bit. But other than that, um, yeah, I think that's to be expected at the moment with Smith Rowe. Lacazette's on form, though obviously didn't score tonight. Aubameyang obviously is our captain. Saka. So yeah, I think the lineup overall was all right, um, and to be expected for the most part. But we started well in the first half. Though Palace from probably around 30 minutes did grow into it a bit more. Um, and yeah, second half, I think we did dominate. Palace didn't try to break on the counter, but didn't really have any. I think the best chance they had, that they had a corner from their right, our left, and I think is it Tompkins that headed it? Is it McDonald? Literally about 2 yards in front of goal. He didn't see it, but it came off his shin, or I think his left thigh, and then caught it. And in the first half, Tompkins. I think Palace's best chances were in the first half. Tompkins had a header with the bar. Benteke had a good header that, what's his name, Leno did well to save. And yeah, overall, I thought not the best of performances, but probably a draw was a fair result. I think both teams probably could have won it, and if we play with a bit more, impetus and a bit more oomph, I think also that we were a bit too narrow. We played into Palace's hands. Their game plan obviously was to hit us on the counter, which they did a lot, but I think a lot of their chances came from out wide, and really we didn't utilize the wings enough. Saka can cross. You know, Possibly we're a bit unbalanced because Tierney wasn't there. Ainsley can cross. Hector can cross too, but neither really were effective. Their crosses were a bit hit and miss. So I suppose I was going to say Ainsley can cross from the left. Obviously, you can cut inside and cross, but I don't know. Yeah, it was an average performance, and you can say it's 2 points dropped, but I think we held our own, but again, just lacked a bit of impetus. And yeah, draw I think is fair. Um, Now, as for the player ratings, I would say, um, just bear with me a moment. Okay, then. As for the player ratings, Leno, I would say, um, I'll give him a 7. I thought he was relatively strong. Made a very good save for Benteke, kept a clean sheet. Can't ask for more. Hector Bellerin, I'll probably give a 4. Offensively was okay. He had a couple of there was that opportunity where he toe poked it in front of Lacazette, who would have shot. Whether Laka would have scored is another question, but it definitely would have been as a chance. And defensively, I think Zaha got in too many times to say a 4. Luis, as obviously you can see there on this screen, not my favourite player, I must say, but it's the thing with Luis is very hot and cold. Today he was hot more so than cold. Um, he managed them well. Yes, they got a few headers in Benteke, but overall he was unfazed. I'll say probably a 7. Same with Holding. Holding signed a new deal, and I think as a squad player he's fine, not as a mainstay. But again, he was resilient. He handled Zaha relatively well. Now Ainsley, I like Ainsley a lot, but today he was dead. A 1. Now I have to say he was rubbish today. Um, Misplaced passes. Yes, you can say he's on the left, but he's played well on the left before. He just had an off day today. He was misplacing passes. He got skinned a lot of times. Was out of position. Poor. Now, Granit Xhaka, like Louise, not one of my favourite players, but today he was excellent. Now, he's a contender for man of the match. I'll tell you at the end who my man of the match is, but for me, he's a contender. For me, it was an 8 because I think his distribution, both short and long, were good. He was tenacious. He was getting blocks in, tackles in. He was pivotal to them, not counter-attacking as well as probably Hodgson would have hoped. For me, my man gets an 8 out of 10. He was very good. In contrast, Tobias, I give probably a 2. I thought he was poor. He was weak. His passing wasn't as good as Xhaka's today. If this man wants to be Real Madrid, when Modric is retiring, Kroos is 29, so he's probably got a few years left. But the Real Madrid team that won 3 Champions Leagues in a row is getting old now. If he wants to be the mainstay, then Zizou's looking at this and thinking, well, bruv, no, you're not good enough for me. 2 out of 10. Saka, not outstanding, but not shit. I'll say probably a 4. Actually, I'll say a 5. I thought he was trying, and he did get a couple of decent crosses and through balls in, but nothing spectacular. Smith Rowe, I'll say probably a 3. Compared to recent performances, he didn't connect or link up much. Yes, he's young, he's got time to learn, but again, not very effective today. Aubameyang had a couple of good chances. I'm going to give my man, my captain, or our captain, I should probably say. I'll give him probably a 5. He was trying. He was working hard. He beat the man on the first half on the left to get a very good crossing. He was trying to link up and trying to make things happen, track back. His work rate was good, even though he wasn't getting bare chances and scoring. So I'll give him a 5. I thought, in terms of overall effort and impact on the game, I thought it was better than in recent games. So 5. Lacazette for me was very poor. 1. There was a chance with Hector, but he did again. Lacazette really didn't impact the game as he usually can, or we know he can. He didn't drop deep. Yes, Palace did crowd the midfield, but even still, maybe if Laka had played a bit deeper and connected with Xhaka and Ceballos, that may have allowed Alba to get in, or Saka or Smith Rowe. So, and I don't think we saw enough of that today. Laka was playing a bit more as an orthodox number 9, and compared to what he usually does in dropping deep and stuff. So, but I have to give him 1. He was poor. I don't even think he had a shot on goal, did he? So yeah. So for the subs, Partey, I'll give a 6. I thought, yes, he wasn't on for long, but I thought he was trying. He was trying to get forward and link up, and he did well to control the midfield, I think. Nketiah, a 1. Actually, didn't offer much. Who else? Pepe. Excuse me, I said 3. Again, he was trying, but nothing came off. He was trying to get dribbles in, but was crowded out, and no, he wasn't effective. As for the manager, for the lineup, was okay. The substitutions were all right, though understandable. Ainsley was not having a good game. I think as Nketiah came on for Laka. Again, Laka was not having a good game. Um, who else came on? I think it was Partey for Sabaya. So yeah, it was the worst performing players that he was replacing, really. Um, could he have changed it earlier? You know what? I'm gonna be generous. I'll give him probably a 5. Um, yes, you could say, we did step it up in the second half because I think we did dominate the second half in terms of possession, probably chances too. Yeah, we didn't have many clear cut chances, but holding, you know, Aubameyang, I think, Hector had a shot very early on in the second half. So we did. He obviously must have told the players, "Yo, up the tempo." We did up it. So, but I don't think you can say he had any. Look, don't get me wrong. There's a reason why my tag there, as you can see, is KSC out, Arteta out. So you know my feelings on the manager, even despite the recent upturn, are self-evident. But I don't think he did anything terribly, terribly wrong today in terms of the lineup or in terms of the tactical setup. It's just, yeah, and we did see an improvement in the second half, at least in terms of urgency. So you can't. Again, he must have told the players, "Yo, fix up, pattern up, shape up," and we did. You have to say so. Can you blame the players? Maybe. You can't say the players are tired because everyone's playing games. And to be fair, Palace played well too, and their game plan didn't work, but you could clearly see what they were trying to do. Um, so I don't know. Maybe it's both teams. I was going to say similar ability level. Probably both teams are similar morale because man for man, I think we're still a better team than Palace. We're a better team than 11th in terms of quality, but in terms of morale and in terms of coaching, maybe Palace are on our level. So a draw is probably a fair result. The thing is, I have nothing against Crystal Palace as a football club. After all, they did sell us Ian Wright, of course, a prime Arsenal legend, unquestionably. But so I can't hate them for that reason alone. But I remember in Premier League history, we always used to have relatively easy wins against Palace, whether home or at Selhurst, and over the last few years it hasn't been. So I was hoping to return to normalcy, so to speak. But obviously today it wasn't to be. So we got Newcastle next. That's going to be difficult because they'll be looking for some kind of revenge. And to be fair, I think in the FA Cup game against Newcastle, it was touch and go for some parts, especially the Carroll chances that he had. And I think we probably did deserve to win on the balance of chances and attacking drive. But they'll be looking for some kind of revenge. And having said that, though, we know how they would play with Carroll because I think Carroll was there to utilize or to expose our bad defense. But if we can be defensively strong as we were today, I don't think we made any serious errors, and we did limit Zaha. And I think we can beat Newcastle at home. So yeah, a disappointing draw. We kept a clean sheet. We didn't lose, but it would have been good to have gained some ground. I think a top 4 charge is out of the question. Well, not out of the question, but I think it's slim. But I would have been, I think a good target would be to get better than 8th place. If we can get 6th or 7th, even dare I say it 5th, even dare I say it like 4th. I think that's reasonably going. So there's still a lot of games to be played though, and the table still is relatively congested. So it's a setback, but I have to learn to live with it. So I've gone on for long enough. Oh yes, man of the match. Hang on, did I grade Arteta? I think I did. I said Arteta was a 4. No, I gave him a 5. Yeah, I think that's fair. Um, I think his overall management of the game was okay. Yes, you can say he should have probably spurred the team on a bit. But again, I think that did happen in the second half. But I think I've already spoken about that. I'll just be reiterating. Then you have what's his name? Man of the match. Leno had a good game. Louise and Holding was strong. The forwards not so much generally. So yeah, Ainsley. I like Ainsley a lot, but he was weak. He was dead. I've got to say, my man Jacka. Look, Jacka for me is not the player. The thing is, we signed Jacka, right? We thought that he was going to be this Kante-esque player. He's not box to box. He's not a DM. But today he was very strong. The thing with Jacka is that he's a very combative player. Even though he's not a DM, he does like he is very headstrong. Hence why in this exact fixture last season, he did throw off the armband because he's very and he gets sent off and booked a lot. And he tackles a lot. He is very hot headed, even though he's not a DM in any strict sense. But today he just looked very composed. He was tackling, he was passing. Dare I say it was a Partey-esque performance in terms of that all-round game. So yeah, I was impressed with Xhaka. And if Xhaka could have played like this for most of his Arsenal career, even despite the red cards, even despite throwing the armband off, the captain's armband off, I think a lot of fans would have warmed to him a bit more. There's a reason why he became captain, because the players must have looked up to him. He probably is a leader. He probably is, he's the captain of his country. And you can see from the way he plays that he does have a lot of passion and fight and hunger. Yes, it overblows, but maybe that's just a negative consequence of that. For every positive, that there's a negative kind of thing. So for me, look, Granit Xhaka, as I said, is not my favourite player, but for me, he is man of the match. 8 out of 10 for today. Yeah. Man of the match overall in the match. I think for Palace, Benteke looked sharp. Zaha did. What's the guy's name? Easy Eze, is it? Whatever. Um, and their defenders look good too. So, but from an Arsenal standpoint now, for me it is what's his name? Uh, Jacko. So then, yeah, that's it for now. And yeah, subscribe on YouTube as the ticker says below.